All right, we are back with another not Forcecast, podcast relay, and today we are talking about the big answers episode of the Mandalorian, right? So episode is it like 13 now?
Yeah, chapter
The
13.
Jedi, right? So yeah, so there's tons to talk about, tons to get through. So let's get right started like right away.
And the rumors were right, by the way.
They were right, and I was right, by the way, about Rosario Dawson and all of that crap. So,
Yeah.
it's a good thing that we didn't bet on that because you would have lost. So, but yeah, let's start. Like, what were your kind of general feelings regarding this episode, right?
I was definitely in the minority at first. I've come around to the episode now, but
Right, right.
I was a little thrown off by it.
Yeah,
Especially the beginning. I found it weird that we were just thrown right into Ahsoka,
yeah,
literally like in the first like 10 seconds of the episode.
yeah. It was another one of
And
those kind of subverting your expectations kind of deals,
yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
and I've read things about it that I believe that that the pacing of the episode might have worked better if you just cut out the opening scene altogether,
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
because you learn all that same
You
information
pretty much you do.
as
Yeah.
the episode goes,
Yeah,
and I think it would have
yeah.
been better
I feel
if
like I feel like the introduction sequence was just an excuse to show off her lightsaber abilities. So,
yeah,
uh,
I think that it would have been better if she was introduced when she jumped Din
yeah, but
in the woods. Yeah,
to be fair, like it was really cool to see. Like it's a very cool, like when she's like
yeah, it was
sneaking,
definitely
yeah, when
cool.
she's like sneaking around and taking those guys out. She was like super brutal, like in that sequence. I was like, holy shit, like this is different. We've never seen her like
Yeah.
this before. Not that I've seen Ahsoka much, anyway, but like I saw her like all of the Rebels, like at least the
Did
final
you see like
season.
the that you saw the last season?
Yeah, I saw the last season. Then I saw the
Okay.
first two. So, um, or the first one anyway. Um, I saw the one where Ezra and Kanan, they fight Vader. Um, I can't remember what season that was in.
Second one.
Second one. Okay, so I saw all the way up until that point at least. Um, but yeah, like for me, this was like up there. Like this episode, this was up there for me. Like among my favorites right now. So like when I look, if I think about it, like uh, like honestly, it's probably like my third favorite. I think it might be. I'm gonna have to rewatch it, a few times more just to make sure.
Hmm.
But I really feel like it's up there. It's yeah, it was a fantastic job because there were so many things about this episode that were so likable. So much for
Yeah.
me to sort of appreciate as a person who is a filmmaker who makes movies. Myself as an artist. All that good stuff. So but yeah, let's break it down. So like. Well, let's start with the negatives first because you seem to have those. Like, what was your like biggest beef like with this
Um,
chapter?
my biggest issue, and again, it's something that I've come around to because I realized a lot of things, but Ahsoka's mantras,
Mm-hmm.
like I could see the bends in the in the foam. It looked. I've seen cosplays do it better,
To be fair,
and
to be
yeah,
fair,
it looked.
you can see the bends in the foam in Shock T's Montrals as well. So
Yeah, maybe it's, and then I realized, I'm like, well, it's because Shakti really didn't do all that much
mm,
physically in the movies, in the prequels.
yeah,
She was just kind of like there and moved around a little
I
bit,
mean
but
we have one shot in Attack of the Clones where she activates her lightsaber, and that's about it, right?
and then there's like
So
the deleted scene
with
from Revenge of the
Anakin,
Sith
Anakin and
with Anakin
Grievous, yeah.
and the Grievous
Mm.
one too.
Yeah, she
But
dies two times in Revenge of the
yeah,
Sith.
she dies twice.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then she doesn't die at all, actually. So,
yeah, and then dies in Force Unleashed, and then I guess in this universe they made it so that the Anakin one's canon.
right, right, right. Okay.
But
Well,
no,
I
but
feel like the Montreal thing. That's more kind of a it's a legitimate complaint, but it's a
Mhm.
complaint about verisimilitude, which means kind of truth likeness of the universe. So, like what seems like things that take you out of the experience, the Star Wars experience, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, again, genuine complaint, but it's a complaint about very similitudinal, aspects.
Hmm.
But I feel like this was a really strong episode in terms of atmosphere, in terms of just kind of pure cinematography. The kind of Kurosawa. Made a video about it. Where I pointed this out. Sort of Kurosawa landscapes with these tiny figures juxtaposed against the backgrounds and stuff like that. Um, and I feel like, yeah, it was a very visually strong outing, I think.
Yeah, it just kind of looked like a big graveyard or something
Yeah, it
almost,
did. Yeah, it's just kind of
with
really.
like that full moon in the background, like a
Yeah, it's a
Halloween
really,
movie or
yeah.
something
This,
like
this
that.
kind of mustard yellow greenish kind of hue, very foreboding atmosphere. Almost felt like Malachor to an extent to me.
I think it's definitely supposed to have that similar feel because
Feel,
I mean
yeah,
it's pretty much destroyed.
yeah, it was,
What you're seeing is a lot of just like smog and
yeah, and you got these gnarly trees with the finger-like branches, and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
so I feel, yeah, it felt like it was really strong with the presentation of it all. So,
Mhm.
um, then like, but like, how do you feel about Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, like in terms of performance, right?
It was a little bit jarring at first because I've never seen or heard anyone else besides
Ashley
Ashley
Eckstein,
Eckstein.
yeah,
And so I think that voice is just so ingrained
ingrained, yeah.
in my
But but
memory of
but but I
Ahsoka
but I,
that it
yeah, but I do feel that she tried to kind of go that same kind of
yeah,
tone
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, no, I think she did a good job with
Yeah,
it. I just I was very thrown off for a lot of the episode. It took me a while to come around to it. I was
yeah.
like, I'm so used to hearing her.
Yeah, but
And
like with these
yeah.
things, you have to keep in mind that it's a different medium. It's live action. It's
Oh, I know.
yeah, it's a different actor. But I really feel like they nail like how she like maybe the complaint about the Montrals notwithstanding, they nailed her look. Like she looks like how I would imagine live action Ahsoka looking like. Um,
And another reason why I was thrown off, which I eventually had to go, no, that's not a valid reason, was that they weren't long enough.
no, no. Uh,
But it's because of how stylized Rebels animation
Yeah,
is.
yeah, exactly. And then like also like the Montrals really like they're very impractical in fights, like in
Yeah.
lightsaber fights. Like with the Twi'lek, they're usually the Leku are at the back of the head, where in Togruta they're on the front, right?
Yeah.
So they could get in the way of the blades, and stuff like that. So
What exactly are they? Like what do we know what function they
yeah,
serve biologically?
I'm pretty sure like I'm not an expert on Togruta anatomy. But I'm pretty sure like they serve some sort of mental function. So much like Twi'lek, they have like second brain or second or third brain in the Leku.
Gotcha.
Or organs that kind of serve these neuro functions.
All right, so
Uh,
that's definitely something you don't want to cut off.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. And like with Twi'lek, Twi'leks, they inflict tremendous amount of pain when you grab those things. Leku, they're very sensitive.
Yeah.
So, and like to the point where you can actually incapacitate a Twi'lek by grabbing one of their Leku. So,
Man, that sounds like something that needs to change with evolution. Like,
yeah, yeah, and then of course there's the whole not to veer too far off course, but there's the whole issue with Hera and Kanan's son, and Twi'leks and humans are not biologically compatible. They're not. Um,
yeah, they changed that in this universe.
yeah, and it really
Which
irks
I
me.
guess they did it for the sake of story, but they also did it in Clone Wars too.
Yeah, I really feel like that. That really irks me. When, they gave the name Jason to that character, and the green hair. Oh, yeah. Let's not go any further down that rabbit hole. But like, yeah, back to the episode, right? So
Yeah.
I've again, this was the big answers episode, right? We got so many answers now. We now know first of all, we have a name for Baby Yoda, right? We no longer have to call him
Grogu.
Grogu. I don't really feel like it has that same kind of ring to it as Yoda or Vandar or Oteg or Yaddle, but
I feel like it's in that vein. I just feel like we haven't really heard enough names
yeah,
of
probably
this species.
yeah,
Also, we've never heard one who was named in that era. I don't
yeah,
think.
true.
How old was Yaddle?
Yaddle is she's younger than Yoda, definitely,
So
but
what? Probably like 500, 600, something like that
something like
when she
that,
died.
maybe. Yeah. I mean, in Phantom Menace, she is like brown hair, so she has to be
Right.
pretty
Yeah.
young, right? So, mm, but yeah, we know him. We know his name now. We know that he was in fact trained. So now it's no longer a mystery. It's not a plot hole why he can use the Force, right?
Yeah, that shocked me honestly. I
I
didn't think they were going to say that.
I kind of saw that coming, to be honest. Or sort of, I had entertained the idea, because I was like, how else would he? Because just based on what we know about the Force, which is that you have to be trained to use it.
Yeah.
So how else would he possibly know? It's not like he can
Looking
just yeah,
looking back on it, I feel like I need to go rewatch the fourth episode because when he's like learning the stuff in school or whatever,
yeah.
they mention Coruscant. I wonder if he like perks up at that
Yeah,
as like
yeah,
a
we're
bit of
gonna rewatch.
foreshadowing.
Yeah, and I feel like once this season wraps, I'm gonna rewatch both seasons anyway. So there might be some clues that because these are smart people making this show, right? So
Oh,
there might be
definitely.
clues that they're dropping along the way, in season one,
Hmm.
definitely in season two, leading up to this revelation.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the like like with the Ahsoka reveal, like everybody knew it was coming, right? So I feel like the anti-climb
Everybody's known this was coming for like
for a
since
year,
last season. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure. Yeah.
yeah. But it's just like I don't feel like the anti-climax is that bad, like because you just like everybody went into this episode to see Ahsoka, right? That's what everybody wanted to see, and that's what we got, right? We got Ahsoka in action. We got Ahsoka talking, um, having a conversation, talking a little bit, about herself, her history,
Yeah, and
stuff.
I saw a really nice shot that people were saying that they wanted, and it was Ahsoka holding Grogu, but like up against a full moon, so it's just like the shadow of
Yeah, it
them.
was really cool. Yeah, yeah. This show is extremely strong visually speaking. It's a
Yeah.
very strong show. And it comes with the, one of the showrunners being a guy from animation background. Um, Dave Filoni is
I think this is only his second time directing something
yeah,
live
and yeah,
action.
it's very impressive, that he can
Yeah.
pull it off. But then, he did learn from the very best, did he not? Though,
Right,
so
right.
yeah, so he does know, or he should know rather. It would be very strange and worrisome if he spent like a decade with George and he didn't pick up some things,
Yeah,
about
he
live action.
obviously learned a lot
Yeah,
from
he
him.
did. Um, and I feel like he's a very worthy successor to the sort of George Lucas flame. Um, and
I don't think people give him enough credit sometimes.
no way, no
Um,
way.
because like in like the Disney Star Wars fans, they always love more Dave Filoni all the time, but
Yeah,
when you get to a lot of the EU fans, a lot of them as soon as they hear that he overwrote something or changed something, they just go, "No, he's the worst thing to ever happen to
yeah,
Star Wars." And I'm like,
but I feel like at the same time, I understand that because I'm a huge EU fan and
right, right.
I'm an EU purist in the sense that I don't consider anything else canon, right? I
Mhm.
can appreciate this new stuff, with the Mandalorian, but it's not canon for me. Um, but
These same people though are pretending that George Lucas didn't change
no,
things.
come on, he would have
Yeah.
scrapped the whole thing when he made the
Yeah.
sequels. Come on, get real.
They're yeah, some of these people are I think are just so idealistic that they're
They
like, "No,
are.
George would have gone with the
No,
EU." And
no,
I'm
no, no,
like,
no, no,
"Did
no,
you watch the prequels at all?
no, 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 no,
That
no, no,
overwrote
no,
the
not at
whole
all. No,
Benji clone
Yeah,
thing?" Like,
no, George would have scrapped the whole thing.
yeah,
I'm sure he would have
two different times.
exactly. But it's just like I'm pretty sure like he would have been more faithful to the EU. Maybe like his like, sequels would have had more stuff from the EU, possibly more stuff like that rather. Um, but like as far as the that whole storyline, with the Jason and Jaina, he would have scrapped all of that. So,
Yeah.
and and there's a lot of people on Twitter, like the EU Twitter, people like well, I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to get into any trouble, but like there's a lot of people who are very gung ho about the EU, and they're like, oh, or George would have, George, it was George's Star Wars, and no, it wasn't. Like, it was Star Wars in his time, and he approved all of it, but like, it was
Right.
not part of his what constitutes Star Wars inside his mind, right? His Star
Yeah,
Wars
and I
is his
recognize
story,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But a lot of people don't recognize that, and I think that's like again I can understand that because the EU is my childhood. It's
Hmm.
the Star Wars I grew up with.
Not as much as you, but same.
Yeah. I grew up with all of that stuff, and like it would have hurt to have George shit can the whole thing. But at the same time,
Yeah.
it would have been easier to accept because it's the creator himself. It's not some corporate entity coming in and jerry
Yeah.
rigging with the whole thing and just like you're throwing all of it off
Yeah.
basically
I'm,
just
I'm yeah, I'm saying like I think that some people just want someone else to blame. They want to view George as this god who can do no wrong.
uh
But the whole Mandalorian thing from the Clone Wars was George's idea,
yeah, it was, yeah.
changing the Mandalorians. Yeah, and a lot of people don't like to see it that way. They just go, "Oh, look, Dave Filoni ruined the Mandalorians." But
No, it was George,
it's,
yeah. But it's again, it's like I love George. I love the stuff he does. I love his movies.
mhm.
I'm the biggest George Lucas fan in the world, right? But I don't agree with everything he does, right?
Right.
And that's okay. Like, not
Yeah, you
everybody
can
likes
have
the same things. It's like
yeah.
the shocking revelation, that we used to know and everybody used to agree on, agree to disagree, right? Which seems to be
Mhm.
impossible these days.
Yeah, it's that
Yeah,
you're if you're not with me, then you're my enemy. I don't know.
exactly, yeah. But, only a Sith deals in absolutes. So, um, but yeah, it really was like, yeah, it was George's kind of idea to, make a lot of these retcons.
And I can see George's fingers in some of these episodes
Yeah, you
because
can.
I know he was involved in a little bit of it. Not much, but
Yeah, but really, like what was your favorite part of this? Like into anything, just element of this episode, right?
well, there were well, one. I'm gonna go into it because I was a little dissatisfied with the Ahsoka reveal just because it happened so fast.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, we're going into it. It wasn't like a build up or anything, but there were two times in this episode where I was like, yes, yes, and my girlfriend was like, you good?
yeah.
Because it was when they mentioned HK-87
Oh
droids,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm
HK
like,
droids.
they're
Yeah,
bringing HK droids into
they're
this
bringing
somehow.
HKs. Yeah, they don't
And
really.
the second one was Tython.
Yeah, they don't look like. Yeah, let's talk about Tython in a second. But like, they don't really look like HKs. But like, well, I don't know. Like, it was pretty dark episode, in terms of lighting.
Yeah.
So I'd have to
Well,
be sort of higher resolution image.
I
So
looked at it. Yeah, they don't look like HKs, but I think what happened was they just had these droids. They didn't give them a name yet,
yeah,
and then they're like, "Oh, how about we just call them HK
HKs.
droids?"
Yeah,
Because I feel like that'll be a little bit of a cool reference,
yeah.
especially since we're already mentioning Tython. Like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
get
So
some
so let's
EU
go.
stuff in here.
So let's go into Tython because that was the big thing for me in this episode, right? That was the big, huge revelation that like my
Yeah.
favorite part. Like even though it's just a one line, like Tython is the seminal birthplace of the Jedi Order in the original
Hmm.
timeline, right? So and it's one of my favorite planets. I love the way it looks. I love this kind of serene sort of mountainous, kind of almost Alderaan like esque kind of landscape, to it.
Yeah.
Um, and I love the ruins, and I love the Jedi temple, and I'm looking forward to like if they're gonna stay true to that vision of what Tython is, or if they're gonna do something completely different. In which case, I would be very disappointed.
I think it'll be similar. I don't think it's gonna have like the exact same
No, no, no,
aesthetic
no,
as
no.
the Old Republic or anything like that, but I think they're gonna keep with like the same kind of planet. I think the temple is just going to be on like a much, much smaller scale.
Smaller scale, yeah. But I feel like, again, this goes back to what I keep saying, in these discussions about this really is the show for the hardcore fan. This is the show for
Mhm.
the big nerd. Um, and I feel like, I feel, the show pushes all the right buttons in me, to
Yeah,
use a turn of phrase. Um, it pushes all the right buttons, and it's making like, but it doesn't feel like it's forced. It doesn't feel like it's fan
forced.
servicey. Yeah, nothing like that. Forced. Yeah, use the force. Um,
The dad jokes are getting worse with
Dad,
age.
they're getting worse by each podcast. I'm so sorry about all of this, people. I'm sorry. I can't help it. Yeah, we're getting up there in age, so we're gonna be excused. So we're
Yeah.
getting up there. Yeah, I'm like 26, so leave me alone. I'm an old man, right? Oh no, but like seriously, like again, it feels like very. Yeah, it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like they're trying too hard. It just feels very natural. These
Yeah.
references, and they do lead somewhere. Actually.
Yeah, and it's the same thing that I said in the first episode of this season, that they a lot of them are very subtle.
Yeah, they are.
They
Yeah.
sometimes they don't even explain it. They don't even say anything about it,
No.
and like the casual fans pass it by. They don't feel like they don't understand something,
Yeah.
and the hardcore fans notice it.
Yeah.
Like the Dark Troopers at the end of the
Yeah.
fourth
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah. My thought was,
someone turned on the descriptive audio,
yeah.
and they actually named them as Dark Troopers
Oh,
in the
right, right,
descriptive
right.
audio.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, it's something that we knew, but
Yeah. And like, when those things appeared, with Moff Gideon, I was immediately, my mind went, oh, that's got to be a dark trooper.
hmm
Or it's got to be a shadow trooper, in invisible
yeah,
cunts, the invisible cunt. But like, yeah, that's where my mind went, like, straight away. Um,
hmm
and it does feel good to be right about these things. You're just kind of like, told told ya. Um, and it feels like, you feel like you're being appreciated as a fan.
hmm
You feel like your knowledge and your patience and your kind of like your investment in this setting is being paid off.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was also I didn't like whoop at this moment like I did the other ones. I was more just kind of shocked that they brought it up, but it
Yeah.
was it Thrawn,
Thrawn. Yeah.
which is kind of interesting.
I'm kind of done with Thrawn, because like, again, Thrawn in the new canon, like I don't know anything about him, but I'm sure that his story is different from the EU. Um,
Not really.
no.
So the interesting thing about Thrawn is, yeah, Rebels is a little bit different than the EU. I think it minorly contradicts his story in terms
Right.
of where he was at what
Right. Right.
time. But all the books, all the new Thrawn books, there's been four of them so far, and Timothy Zahn uh, wrote those books to not only fit with Rebels and the new canon,
But the
but to
EU as
also,
well.
yeah, he
Oh,
he
he
made
did
he
that.
made
Has
sure that they
yeah?
fit in both.
Has he said that though? Like, did he say?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He
Well,
came out and said that at least he tried to make them fit with his own books, I think.
right, 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 right. Yeah,
But yeah, they
yeah,
don't really contradict
yeah.
anything. And
I feel like like maybe he like almost has to, because it would be a very schizophrenic experience to try and reinvent Thrawn. At this point in history. Because he's such an iconic force.
yeah, most of the Thrawn stuff that we've seen in like these new books just give further backstory. And if you're someone who's read
Right,
all the
right.
EU books and everything, and
Yeah.
you read these, you would feel like it's backstory for EU Thrawn as
Right,
well.
right, right. So it's kind of like Outbound Flight, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Zahn was also like they asked him, and consulted with him when they were doing Thrawn for Rebels, and I'm sure
Right.
if they bring him in the Mandalorian, they will here too because Dave Filoni cares. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Like.
what some people are thinking is that this will lead to essentially a canon version of the Thrawn trilogy like being talked about,
Right.
like
Right.
the
Right.
same events,
Yeah.
because they've done that before where they won't, like in the Rogue One book Catalyst, they talk about the Battle of Hypori and about
Right.
Grievous like
Right.
wiping out a bunch of Jedi
Yeah.
without actually going into it and just saying, "Oh yes, this happened."
Yeah. But like, again with Thrawn, like, if they really do fit with the old continuity, then maybe I can read those. Um, but like, I'm not in any sort of hurry, to pick those up at this
Yeah.
point because I have so many other things to
Yeah, yeah,
do.
yeah.
Like, I have very little time to read at the moment. Um,
I've heard that the first and like there's three books that go together, and then one book that just started another trilogy, which goes like and explores his time with the Chiss Ascendancy.
oh, right, right, right. Yeah,
And of the first three books that came out, which are like his time in the Empire,
yeah.
um, apparently the first and third books are really really good and some of the best Zahn books that there have
All
been
right.
apparently. And the second one's like, oh, okay.
I mean, like, I don't know if that's hype, but like, like now that I know that they do fit in with the old continuity, I'm like, yeah, like maybe I can pick those up.
Yeah,
Yeah, but let's get back to the episode, right? Because that's what
yeah,
we're
yeah.
here to actually talk about. Um, like, yeah, Thrawn is name dropped, Tython is name dropped. What else do we have? Like, I liked, I really liked the pole arm versus lightsaber fight. I like the
Oh,
pike
the
lights.
sound that the best car
Oh
made
yeah, it was so
was just so
cool.
cool too.
It was like
It,
I like how when the Mando is out with Michael Bean. Like I like how the fight sounds are echoing from the courtyard. It was so cool. Like, again, no visual storytelling whatsoever. Like you can just kind of auditory storytelling. In terms of
yeah,
audio and sound and stuff like that. Michael Bean is in Star Wars right now. So Michael Bean, Kyle Reese fame from Terminator is now in Star Wars. That's incomprehensible to me because now we have Carl Weathers, we have Michael Bean. It's just this just this giant fucking 1980s action star get together. you know,
yeah.
like who's next? It's like Dolph Lundgren is gonna be next, or Arnold Schwarzenegger maybe. I don't
I'm
know.
waiting for Hasselhoff.
Hasselhoff, and then like Stallone. Stallone is gonna come in, at some point. Oh, it will be so much
That
fun.
scene though with Michael Bean,
Right, right.
that was pretty cool. It was like the old west kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
shootout thing.
yeah. And then the whole episode kind of feels like see the reason why samurai movies feel like westerns or look like westerns because they took cues from John Wayne western movies, right? So, or Kurosawa movies anyway. They took cues from those because John Wayne was Kurosawa's favorite director back in the day. Um,
Hmm.
and the kind of visual story, the visual language of those two film genres, samurai movies and westerns, it's very sim. It's almost identical, in fact, and so that
Hmm.
kind of translates over to Star Wars by way of Hidden Fortress and Seven Samurai, and stuff like that. So Kurosawa movies, Kurosawa being a huge, maybe like the primary influence of George Lucas as a director. So yeah, so it feels like yeah, it feels very natural to the setting again. I
Yeah.
like the yeah, I like how, like, all these little things, like how Ahsoka's cape is flapping in the wind when she's like approaching the magistrate. Um,
Hmm.
I love all of that stuff. Great. This again, very great visual episode. Like the
They
series.
also
Yeah, go
they
ahead.
they also they also nailed a couple things that Ahsoka does in animation
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and brought them into live action. One of the coolest ones is that moment when she turns on her lightsabers and she has them like facing each other
yeah.
and then like pulls them apart
And
into
then
like
like
two blades.
yeah, and then like more subtle stuff that you wouldn't necessarily notice, like the way she fights is very, they nailed it as far as
Yeah.
I know anyway. So, um,
As soon as we all saw written and directed by Dave
Dave
Filoni, we're like,
Filoni,
"Yep, it's the
yeah,
Ahsoka
yeah,
episode."
yeah, it's the Ahsoka episode, yeah. Um, but like, yeah, and I've like the way she walks, you know, and they really studied Ahsoka and they really nailed her character as far as I'm concerned.
I
So,
kind of wonder if they consulted because part of her duel with Maul in the
right,
Siege of Mandalore was motion capture
right.
with Ray Park, and I wonder if they studied like the behind the scenes stuff of what the actual motion capture artist was doing.
Could be like, but like, can we give like huge, major props to Rosario Dawson for coming in, daring to take on this huge character and just training, with the lightsaber combat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, must not have been easy, like because there was, huge expectations for Ahsoka to come in this, in this episode, and I feel like
Hmm.
I feel like for the most part it was a well received outing. I feel
Yeah.
like most
And
people liked her in this part, this chapter, right?
yeah. And
Well,
can I just say, without it turning into sequel bashing, that this is the first really good lightsaber combat that I've seen in
yeah.
years, live
Oh
action.
yeah. This was awesome. I love this. Like I love how we have very dynamic movement. We have
Yeah.
Ahsoka. We have Ahsoka doing parkour. She's going. On
Yeah,
the
like
route.
this was prequel era lightsaber
Yeah, pretty
combat,
much.
which
Yeah.
makes sense because she was a Jedi in the prequel
Yeah.
era.
Yeah.
Like,
She was. Yeah. But again, it's like I see so many people complaining about her. Making these dumb complaints that really don't amount to much. Again, mostly sort of very similitudinal complaints about her montrals, and which people keep calling Leku. They're not Leku. They're montrals. Wrong species.
yeah,
But like, yeah, I really like this. I like Ahsoka. I like her as a character, fine, but I don't feel like she had a place in Anakin's story. I really don't feel that way because, I talked about this in
hmm,
another podcast. I really feel like she was kind of out of place in his story, and I feel like maybe she should have been like a separate entity, like outside of Anakin himself,
well,
or just
maybe it's because I grew up with her more
yeah,
that I,
maybe
I feel differently
like
about that.
like in 2008, like when this started airing, the Clone
I
Wars.
was I was 11. That
Yeah,
was when I was
yeah.
like,
Uh,
Clone Wars hype, let's
Yeah,
go.
I was 14, so
Yeah,
so I was getting up there in age in terms of like maybe not being the target audience per se, but like yeah, I didn't really feel like Ahsoka ever had. But I do at the same time, I do appreciate the fact that she's come to her own. She is now her own character. She is
yeah.
yeah, she is this cool, awesome this not really a Jedi per se, but ex Jedi who yeah, I like her kind of
It's
word.
interesting though. This is also the first time that she hasn't denied being a Jedi.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
exactly.
noticed
Yeah.
people talking about that because before she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not a Jedi. I'm just
Yeah,
like a Force user."
yeah, but I feel like maybe that was kind of disillusionment with the council and
And also, it's this is
Anakin.
post Return of the Jedi. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
Anakin.
a
Yeah.
whole different era.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder like
she referenced Anakin in this too
yeah, yeah, she did. Yeah.
about the whole like I've seen what
Yeah, what
attachment can
does
do to a
does to
fully
a
trained
Jedi Knight?
Jedi.
Yeah, I feel like if she knows about Luke yet at this point in the timeline.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's the thing about this timeline is that there's Return of the Jedi. There's like a little bit of war after,
Right, right, right. Yeah,
and then when it ends, we don't really know anything up until like the Resistance era.
yeah,
So there's like nothing except for the Mandalorian. So I don't know how public Luke is in the galaxy right now. I don't know if
yeah,
he's like, oh yeah, I have Jedi now. Like he was in the EU. He has like this Jedi Academy, and everyone knows about it. Like,
yeah, yeah. I wonder if they're trying to kind of. I don't know, but I wonder if they're trying to kind of steer clear of the sequels for the most part now because they have such bad rap, right now.
Well, they could still do stuff with Luke and not be involved with the sequels because
Y-
there's a lot to do.
yeah.
I almost wonder. This might be a long shot, but if we'd see like a slightly de-aged Mark Hamill,
I mean, like, yeah, I could see that like happening. Like,
if depending on what Grogu's path is.
have you seen like what they can do with amateur deep fake technology now?
Yeah.
It's almost impeccable at this
And
point,
then if
right?
you look at, did you ever see the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
No, I've never seen either of them, so.
Okay. They oh, what's his name? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. He's a famous actor from like the 70s and 80s. Give me 1 second. I don't know why I can't remember his
What
name.
movie?
Uh,
Give me a movie he's been in.
give me 1 second. I'm just gonna find his
Right,
name.
right.
Um, yeah, he's not in this list for some reason. Oh,
Huh.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. All right, yeah.
Yeah, so the opening scene of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when Kurt Russell's already probably what is it, it's like 60s by this point,
Yeah.
right?
70s,
They
something like that.
de-aged yeah, de-aged him for this
Right.
opening scene because he's like the main villain of the movie.
Right, right.
But the opening scene took place in I think the 70s.
Right.
And oh man, I couldn't even tell.
Yeah. I mean,
It
yeah.
it was mostly makeup. Apparently it was like mostly makeup with like a
Oh,
little bit of CG.
right,
It
right.
looked like Kurt Russell from the 70s.
Yeah, but it's like, what's really stunning about this thing,
Mhm.
like the fact that some of these deep fakes, they look better than Hollywood CGI recreations. They actually look better. So like I saw this one where um well, I don't want this to turn into a conversation about deep fakes right now. So let's go back to the episode, right? Because again, we're constantly veering off course. We don't want that. So
Right, right.
yeah. So, but like, let's see what else. How'd you feel about the music? I always want to ask you about the music because you're the music guy.
Hmm.
So
Well, it was interesting because
it felt more sort of like a horror kind of a deal.
yeah,
This time
but we
around.
also got a really nice version of Ahsoka's theme.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I noticed that. Yeah. Um.
Um, that might be my favorite version of the theme that's been played throughout the different shows so far.
Yeah. I wonder what the instrument is that they use. By the way, in when they it has to be some sort of wind instrument. The
Yeah, I didn't pay attention enough to. I'll have to go back and listen to it.
right, right, right. Um. Well, what about the one where like um uh I can't think straight right now. Yeah, let's get back to the actual discussion, right? Yeah, just like yeah, Ahsoka's theme appears. However, briefly, it was very swift and quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was there. Yeah, undeniably. And I thought it was that was a really cool thing. Um, I feel like the sort of music continues to impress in the show, even though it's not necessarily the most Star Wars thing ever. Um,
I
it
think this show has proven that it doesn't really need to
yeah,
be.
it doesn't need like again. It sort of depends on the story that you're telling.
Uh huh.
Kind of like in Republic Commando, it doesn't sound very Star Warsy at all.
Yep.
Um, it's electronic, elements, in there, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, again, it doesn't have to be. I feel like again, the saga movies should have those the classical, uh, huge orchestra symphonic score, right?
Oh
But
well,
like,
yeah. That's one of the things that I've learned about film scoring, though. Is a lot of it's it depends on the scale
yeah,
of the show. I mean, you're not gonna if you have like a little an independent movie that takes place mostly inside this apartment, and it's about like the two problems of this like like the problems of these two people like in this relationship or
Right,
something.
right.
You're
You're
not
not
gonna,
gonna have an epic score, you know.
yeah, you're not
Uh,
gonna have like a full orchestra. You're gonna have like a very small string section and
though,
maybe like a guitar or something
though,
like.
although, how funny would it be to have like this couple arguing, and then you got this epic final battle music playing in the background? You know,
Yeah,
that would be funny. Um,
that'd be pretty good.
yeah, but like, yeah, just all around, I feel like yeah, it's a very strong, solid episode, and it's up there for me, um, as my
Do you
third
think
my third favorite right now. So
of the whole series
yeah,
or the
whole
season?
series, yeah, whole
Oh, okay,
series, yeah,
gotcha. Do you think that in the same way that in the third episode we learned that we were gonna see Ahsoka,
yeah.
and then everyone was like, "Oh, we're gonna see Ahsoka next week," and we're like, "No, we're not. They're gonna wait until." Because there's usually like an episode where they don't do what they set out, like
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
Do you think we're gonna see Tython next week or the week after, or maybe even in the series, not the
Well,
series, the season finale?
I feel like maybe we're gonna have a break between now and just one episode between now and Tython, this one and
Yeah.
Tython. Maybe not, but I feel like maybe the season is actually gonna end with Tython or this Jedi, whoever. Ahsoka mentions that
Mm,
if he takes baby
right.
Grogu up to Tython, then a Jedi might show up. So one like okay, so we know that a Jedi is gonna show up, but who is it gonna be though? Luke? Is it Luke?
Well, do we know that a Jedi's going to show up?
I mean, like if they establish that a Jedi is gonna show up, then it's probably gonna show up. So,
Okay.
uh,
Um.
Chekhov's gun. If you establish a gun in your movie, you have to use the gun at some point,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Okay. So yeah, I think a de-aged Luke would be the best way to go
Mm,
in terms of the overall story. Because I mean, who's starting a new Jedi Order?
right,
It's
right,
Luke.
yeah,
It makes most sense to me. There's well, we've already gone through Ahsoka.
yeah,
She's
we
not
did.
going to train him. There's the slight possibility that it could be Ezra
Yeah, I never thought
because
about
if
that
they're
actually. Yeah,
yeah, because if they're bringing Thrawn back, then if you find Thrawn, then Ezra's going to be with him because of
true.
like how the ending of Rebels
Yeah,
was.
yeah, with the fucking hyperspace whale. I still can't believe
The
that was a
Purrgil.
thing. I can't believe those things exist, man.
Um, some people are saying possibly Cal Kestis from Fallen Order.
Right, right. The
But we
redhead,
also don't know
the
his
redhead.
story. All we know is that he survives at least a few years into the Dark Times era, and that they're working on
Right,
a
right.
sequel. But besides that, are
You know,
there any other
at
Jedi?
this point, like Cal Kestis will be like 50 something years old. So
Maybe I would say maybe 40s,
40s, yeah, something like that.
early
I don't know.
40s, maybe because
Yeah,
yeah, he was still a Padawan when Order 66 happened.
yeah, true. Yeah, so yeah, 40s somewhere in there. Maybe late 30s, early 40s, something like that.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah,
I don't think there are any other Jedi at this point,
yeah, like,
unless
like if this were EU, there would be Jedi up
yeah,
the
right, right,
ass.
right.
Everybody would be out there. You got
Well, at this point in the timeline, no. Five
Yeah, yeah.
five years after Return of the
But
Jedi
like,
is the Thrawn trilogy.
yeah, but like, in the EU, like Kukruk is alive. Like
Right,
Kukruk
right, right. Yeah,
shows
they.
up in Legacy era. So Kukruk is very much alive. He's still kicking. He's still
Right.
hiding out. Out there somewhere.
What's her name? The one who was in Dark Empire. Uh,
Oh, you mean
Vima.
Vima Dabota,
Yes.
or Vima Sunrider, or related to Sunriders rather. Yeah, she's alive. And then of course this kind of a Ood Banar is on Osis. He's been out there for 4,000 years guarding those lightsabers.
I
Um,
guess you could technically consider the clone of Jorah Sabayoth.
Sabayoth, yeah, yeah, you could
I don't know.
consider,
I don't know if
yeah.
you can count that. I don't
Yeah, I
know,
mean, he's
but
not really a Jedi, is he? But like, yeah, he's just kind of a dark Jedi, dark Force user. So,
yeah, who
um,
thinks that he's a Jedi?
yeah,
But
yeah,
um,
But yeah, I feel like again, really really solid, really strong outing once again. And I'm very happy that most of these episodes are strong. Like, for me, there's only been one weak episode, and that was the last one with the Bo
You mean the third
Katan.
one?
Bo Katan one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I know we disagree on that, but
Yeah. But, like, not every episode can be perfect. Not every episode can be strong. But like again, I didn't feel it was terrible either. I was just kind of like it felt a bit more weak than the other ones. It felt
it
a
was
bit
definitely
more.
shorter too.
Yeah, it felt a bit more bland, than some of the other ones. But like, even that episode had its moments for me. Like, I like the shootout on the cargo ship, whatever it's called. I don't know anything about these new ships. Um, but like, yeah, I like the shootout with the Mandalorians and it was nice.
The return of Moff Gideon.
Yeah, Moff Gideon is always fun. Like, I enjoy Moff Gideon so much.
I think we've gotten just enough of him, to be honest. It
Yeah,
just in terms of like he's not overused as a villain. He's just kind of
no,
like this figure in the background. We've just seen him a couple
yeah,
times.
but again, like, but that's like one of the things that actually bothers me about the Thrawn name drop. I'm like, we already have Moff Gideon. It's like, do we really have to bring another villain in? It's like I don't want to see Thrawn. I'm done with
We
Thrawn.
might
Like, I
well
want to see Moff
something I've
Gideon.
something I've been seeing is we might not. It might have been. There's been rumors that this is a backdoor pilot,
Well, pilot for what though?
a different series,
Right.
for like an Ahsoka finding Ezra with Sabine kind of
Now
series.
that's something that I would actually watch. Like, if they got Rosario Dawson in and they
Hmm.
would make that show, I would watch the fuck out of that show. I
Yeah,
love
like
that
going off
idea.
into the unknown regions and
Yeah,
trying to find Ezra and
yeah,
Thrawn.
for sure, man. Like, if this is
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't want this show to address it really.
no, I mean, like,
I like the little name drop being there. That's okay. That's done.
if it is true, as you said, that this is a backdoor pilot, then for a show like that, then I would be very happy. I would be very
Mhm.
happy with that. But like, you know,
I'd also
I
assumed that they'd already found him at this point.
yeah, I
I
mean,
was
like,
surprised.
yeah,
It's been
I mean,
five
like, yeah,
years.
it's been a few years, hasn't it? Right? So
Yeah, since they set off on their journey right after the Battle of Endor.
right. But like, yeah, I want Moff Gideon, man. Give me more Gideon. Come on, I'm giddy for the Gideon. Um,
I do think that at some point in this, well, probably in the season finale, we're gonna get some more Moff Gideon, some like big battle like the first season, and I
yeah,
think that there's gonna be the whole thing about the dark saber.
yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, we know that he can use the thing, so we know that he's a danger. He's certainly a force to be reckoned with. I don't
Yeah,
feel
I'm
like
not sure how good he is
he's probably
against
not
a
force
force
sense.
user.
He's not force user, probably not.
Right, right.
But like, yeah, like I like the I like the energy the Moff Gideon.
Nonetheless,
Yeah, I
he's
like the
still great.
I like the energy that Moff Gideon gives out. I like his menacing aura. I enjoy
Mhm.
him so much. Giancarlo
This
Esposito is such a great casting. Yeah, I love
this is
him.
kind of a far out theory, but since we were talking about shadow troopers, do you think that it's possible that they could have done the whole like reborn shadow trooper thing with Moff Gideon?
I don't know if they would have done that though, or I don't know if they would do that rather.
Yeah, I don't either.
Uh,
I'm just saying it's kind of a interesting theory.
I mean, like, again, like this is like what's really nice about this thing, right? It's like I now have a show finally in many years. I have a Star Wars product that I can actually theorize about, that I can feel good about, that I can get excited about. I haven't felt that in so many years, and it's such a refreshing thing. It, it it's very nice to get together every single week with you because I like talking to you,
Mm.
and it's very nice to get together and just kind of theorize about these things and talk about them and like
Right, right, right.
because I didn't have that experience with the fucking sequels, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but what else happened this episode?
so much happened. It's like
Yeah, I kind of just forgot.
yeah, I could keep going about this for 2 hours, but like again, like you mentioned that you have a meeting to attend in a it's like half an hour now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
So maybe we should actually like start wrapping this up at this point.
Yeah.
But like again, to end as we always do, let's give our final thoughts on the episode and then a verdict. So, why don't you go first? Because that's how we do this. So, you
For
you
me,
go
for,
first. You go first.
compared to some of the other episodes, I thought it was good. I don't think that it was as good as some other ones.
Right, right, yeah.
I'll give it like a 7 out of 10.
All right.
And one of my favorite things, like I've already stated, was the sound of the Beskar,
Right, right, yeah. That
because
was cool.
it gave me, it's not quite as cool as the sound of the sonic charges from Attack of the
No,
Clones,
no.
but it is a fantastic sound,
It
and I'd
is.
love to hear more of like lightsabers on Beskar.
Yeah, and I wonder how that sound was made actually because
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very
I can't wait for the second season of Gallery to come out after the show,
yeah.
then all the behind the scenes.
Yeah, like it's almost like it has that same effect. Like some Star Wars sound effects just kind of stick with you. It's kind of like it has that same effect, kind of like the speeders do on Endor. Like
Yeah.
when they howl, that kind of haunts your mind.
And like the Empire Strikes Back, like the AT-ATs
Yeah,
walking,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that clanking and yeah, stuff like that.
Vader's breathing, like there's
Vader's
just
yeah,
iconic sounds.
yeah. They Luke snap his lightsaber, activation sound, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, like for me, again, a top episode, right? Top tier, like top three, right? Currently, my third favorite one, right? So I'm gonna have to rewatch, the episode a few times
Hmm.
just to make sure. But right now, I'm feeling it's like in the three category, somewhere in there.
What's your second favorite?
My second favorite has to be like, oh man, I want to say like, I really want to say the season one finale actually. So,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, and then my favorite one is the Tatooine one with the bounty hunter, and Fennec Shand.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought that last week's was your favorite. Okay.
yeah. I mean, I like the Tatooine episode, with what's his face, the marshal. I keep forgetting his name. What's his name? Cobb
Cobb Vanth.
Vanth. Cobb Vanth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's my fourth favorite right now. So, but like, I don't want anybody to misunderstand. Like, there's not a whole lot of in between these episodes for me. It's like they're almost like equal for me. Like the ones I
Yeah.
like the most, right? So, they're not too far apart, in terms of my enjoyment of
Yes.
all of
Yes.
them. Yeah. So like yeah, this episode like I'm gonna give this one like an let's give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, very solid 9 out of 10. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I love this episode. I love the continuing Lord dumps, if you can call them that. And I just love being appreciated as a fan all over again, or once again rather. Because I haven't felt that in such a long time. But yeah, like 9 out of 10, solid stuff. Can't wait for the next one. So
Yeah, I'm very curious as to where they're gonna go next,
I
because
do
I
I
really
do
don't know.
wonder about that. I do wonder if it's gonna be Tython or if it's gonna be something else first.
Yeah, because they got a couple different plots going on. Of
Yeah,
course,
they do.
we
Yeah.
have Tython. We have Tython
And we
at
got
some point,
then we got
sure,
Bo
and
Katan. We got Bo Katan's Mandalore subplot.
we've got Moff Gideon's Dark
Dark
Troopers.
Troopers. There's so
I
much
don't
going
know.
on.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna pursue the Ahsoka and Thrawn plot. I hope they don't,
Yeah.
but
Because
I hope
this,
that's a whole different
yeah,
show.
because this is very
It deserves
plentiful.
its own show.
Yeah, this is very plentiful as it is. So
Yes.
like there's so much going on. But I
Oh
do
my
feel
god! And again, I can't believe every week I forget the
Boba
Boba
Fett,
Fett
Boba
plot
Fett once
every
again.
week.
Yes, every week we forget about it, right?
Yeah.
So he's just gonna our boy Temuera is just kind of lurking out there. He's lurking out there in the background. We're waiting for him to show up.
Yeah,
So
it'd be really funny. At the end of every episode, it just ends with him just looking at the screen like, soon.
I love how this is turning into like a running
like a meme.
joke, like a
Yeah.
meme, like running joke in these podcasts. I love
Yeah.
that. I love like we keep
No,
forgetting about.
watch that they don't bring it back until like next season. They've been teasing us the whole time. They just have that one shot, and they're just like, yeah, just so you know, Boba Fett's back. We're never going to go over this ever again. But
I love that. I love it. No, man. I mean, like this season has been such a joy for me.
yeah, it's hitting
So
all the right points.
yeah, so much great stuff. I'm feeling so optimistic about it. About it all. I'm feeling very yeah. I'm very happy about everything. So yeah. I mean, it just feels very good to be watching something with the Star Wars name on it that makes me smile. You know,
Right. Yeah.
because I haven't felt that in a long time. And yeah, it just feels very good to be smiling like an idiot every Friday. So yeah, but I feel like maybe that's it for this one. Again, it was very nice to have this conversation with you as ever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
We'll figure this out again next week.
yeah, next
We'll
week.
see.
Yeah,
We'll see what
we'll
happens.
see what happens if we finally get Boba Fett, or we have to wait, forget about him, all over again. So, yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it. See you next week, guys.
Yeah. See ya.